President Trump and the First Lady were swiftly evacuated from the White House Correspondents' Dinner following the shooting outside the ballroom of the Washington Hilton Hotel. Weijia Zhang is president of the White House Correspondents Association and the host of this year's annual event. And as you see there, she was seated next to Mr. Trump when gunshots were fired. And she was the first to ask him about the incident on Saturday.
Madam Chairman, I just want to say you did a fantastic job. What a beautiful evening, and we're going to reschedule. Okay. And after that, it's very tough for her to ask a killer question, right? But you have done a fantastic job. Please.
Mr. President, I appreciate it. As you mentioned, it all happened so quickly, and I wonder, especially because unfortunately you have experience with these sorts of threats. In that moment, when you realized there was a threat and service agents were telling us to get down, can you describe what was going through your mind, how you were feeling in that moment?
That's a very good question, actually. It's always shocking when something like this happens. It's happened to me a little bit, and that never changes. The fact we were sitting right next to each other, First Lady, am I right? And I heard a noise and sort of thought it was a tray. I thought it was a tray going down. I've heard that many times, and it was a pretty loud noise. And it was from quite far away. He hadn't reached the area at all. They really got him.
CBS News senior White House correspondent Weijia Zhang joins us now from the North Lawn to discuss this. Good morning, Weijia. How are you doing? And what was going through your mind in those moments? I know that this was such a special event for you and your family, and your kids were there too.
Good morning, Errol. Good morning to everybody. I am feeling okay this morning. I think a lot of us who are in the room continue to process what happened because we haven't had much time to do so. We went straight, as you saw, from being a dinner guest to being reporters, all in a matter of minutes. So my hope is that many of the journalists who were there and part of the WHCA are taking time to really, time for whatever they need to make sure that they are okay also. But thank you for asking. You're right, though, that, that night was supposed to play out very differently, obviously. And I think something that the president said during that press conference struck me. He said that the dinner was supposed to bring the press and the president together, and in a way it did. Because it doesn't matter what party you were from, it doesn't matter if you were a news reporter or a news maker that night, we were all on the same side because we were all trying together to make sure we were safe and we were, on the other side of a threat.
And, most people may not be aware that the purpose of this dinner is to raise money for scholarships for journalists, to highlight the importance of the First Amendment, the freedom of speech. And President Trump did say in the briefing room he wants this dinner to be rescheduled in about 30 days. You now know full well the intense amount of work it takes to coordinate such a big event. What do you want to see happen? When might you and the team be able to make a decision?
Well, the other board members and I will certainly be having that conversation to talk about not only the feasibility, but also, just the appetite for returning to that event in the next 30 or 60 days. So I think that I also want to check in with my members to see how they are feeling about that. But you're right that President Trump has certainly made his view clear. And it's important to note that he told me the reason we have to reschedule this is because we can't let, the defectors win, especially when it comes to a night about the First Amendment and when political violence is a direct attack on that. And I do think that there is something important there, an important message, that we will not back down even in the face of threats to the First Amendment and the freedoms in it, which of course include freedom of the press and speech.
Yeah, I heard one person say it was a strange evening to go from having a glass of wine to drinking coffee and getting back to work And you and your ball gown in the briefing room really emphasized just the bizarre nature of these events. Weijia, thank you so much for all that you do. I certainly hope you get time to process this all very soon. Weijia Shang at the White House.
Thank you.
Ding dong.